as well. So yeah, I find it very interesting that as we go, it synchronizes, that learning that we do synchronizes with a parsha, it synchronizes with what's happening in real time. And I do feel that Torah, we discussed it last time, it's called as like a signpost, it's a sign. Torah, it's a way of showing you the way. And as you're shown the way, as you learn the way unfolds in front of you to coordinate with that which you're learning. It is a beautiful thing. So yeah, we were learning about Yosef, and it's the Seder of Yosef, exactly that. And in the last Seder that we had, Vayeshev, it was my father's bar mitzvah Seder, and he used to have this whole bit that they said in Germany, that the last sentence, the last word of the last sentence in Vayeshev is Vayishkachehu, which stands for something in Yiddish. They used to say to me, Wenn a Yid spielt Kvitlach on Hanukkah heißt Vo, which means if a Jew plays cards on Hanukkah, it's a good thing. It's basically their excuse for playing cards, casino, Kvitlach, which was a minhag. It was like considered I don't know why, last night, because I think it might be because it coincides with Christmas, and it's a thing not to learn Torah on Christmas. I don't remember what it was. I have to look up the source of that. But the last on Hanukkah, it's a custom to play cards. I think you'll find some people still do. They have casino nights on Hanukkah. It's considered the one time. Oh, because of the dreidel as well, spinning to see the luck, the chance thing. It's a thing. Anyway, that was a side issue. But yeah, Vayishkachehu, the word Vayishkachehu means and he forgot him, which is literally alluding to the thing that we just learned, which was about Joseph placing his trust in was it the butler or the baker? The butler. He asked the butler to intervene and he forgot him. Yeah. So the bottom line was, God is the source of all vessels and blessings, and place your trust in God alone. Okay. So this needs further clarification. The author teaches here that it's an obligation to make a natural vessel for God's blessings. What then was Yosef's sin? The answer is that in general, there are two types of people: those whom the materialistic world affects, and those who are above the world even while they live in it. The worldly Jew's character and soul level is one that relates and is compatible with the world. This person, as righteous as he might be, needs to take steps to seclude himself from the temptations and challenges and struggles of the world. This person also works with the rules of the world. Such a person needs to make vessels for his blessings. The other worldly Jew lives in the world but remains above it. His living in the world does not take away from his relationship with Hashem. He can walk in the ways of the land while remaining truly devoted to God. This person does not work with the rules of the world because he lives above them, and such a person needs to place his trust in God alone. Many righteous men, such as Yaakov's sons, were shepherds. They were worldly Jews who wanted to remain separate from worldly temptations because they were afraid of them. Therefore, they found a vocation that allowed them to remain devoted to God. Joseph, however, was an otherworldly Jew. The world could not detract from his devotion to God, which is why he was able to, and did in fact become, the viceroy of Egypt, because worldly affairs posed no obstacle. This is why Joseph was punished for making a vessel for his freedom, as Rabbeinu Bachya explained, because on his spiritual standing, he should have been aware that he was one with God and had no need to worry about natural vessel. This is also true in an ordinary person's life. Often a person sees that he needs to put an effort into something to achieve it, because at that moment and for that achievement, the world is an obstacle. Therefore, he needs to take natural measures to achieve his goal. There are, however, times when a person realizes that things are moving in a miraculous manner. In such a case, if he does not make a vessel, he's not relying on a miracle. The miracle is already happening. Or occasionally, a person is in a situation where no natural vessel will help. In such a case, a person must realize that the hand of God is directly orchestrating these experiences, and he needs to place his trust in God alone. And that's from a sefer called B'Sha'a Hikdima from the Likutei Sichot. And the bottom line is, a person may experience a situation where no natural vessel will help. In such a case, he must realize that the hand of God is directly orchestrating these experiences, and he needs to place his trust in God alone. So it's very interesting because as I was reading the first bit, I was thinking to myself, there was this question in my head, and I was like, I'm gonna have to ask the others this because I don't know the answer. But how do you know, like, let's say you're at tzaddik, or let's say you're, people who are tzaddikim don't normally say I'm a tzaddik. They're not aware of it so much. How would you know when you're supposed to be at that level that you're only supposed to place your trust in God? Like, I'm sure Yosef wasn't sitting in prison thinking, oh, I'm such a tzaddik, I don't need to rely on people. He might have thought to himself, I'm just an ordinary boy, I've been taken prisoner. So, but then Rabbi Bachya actually answered it. He said there are two circumstances when you know that it's for you not to rely. And the one is, what are the two? The one is when you need to put an effort into something where at that moment and for that achievement, the world is an obstacle. Oh, no, the two times are when things are moving in a miraculous manner. When you see things already happening to you miraculous, you don't then need to start shoving your oar in. You sit back and you let God take charge. And the second time is when nothing is helping and everything is just completely out of control and no natural vessel will help you anyway. And I feel that maybe that applies to the times we're living in now, where we're literally in a situation where the whole world is completely gaslighting us and denying that's ever happened. Like whichever way we turn, we're blocked. It's like the other, anti-Israel people are saying the massacre didn't take place. You're making it up. And then they're saying, well, it did take place, but they're making up stories.
It was so beautiful, everything you said, and then you went into like a rut. I'm like stopping you. I can't hear any more of that rut. Everything was just like, I felt like I was just at the level before that where actually we're being illuminated and with God. I was like smiling the whole way through, and then you went down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I get that, and I
think it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite. I think Shulamit is relating it to something that is very current.
So I'll tell you what I think. Yeah,
but I feel a lot of people are staying in that rut of like the massacre, and not moving. Like I feel like everything else before that, you were saying that is where we're becoming more Jewish, more cultural, more with Hashem. Moving in the long. Yeah.
If you hold on till the end, I was getting to that. So what I was going to say is, no, I agree with your point. I'll tell you what, Judaism doesn't believe like Buddhism does. You sit on a mountain and you meditate and you deny everything that's happening and you go into your little bubble of fantasy. And in my ecstatic world of mushrooms or whatever, nothing is real and it doesn't matter. No, Judaism actually believes that we actually contend with the real world and we bring it into the spiritual by dealing with it, by actually confronting it, looking it in the eye and having no fear, knowing that it's an illusion and knowing that we're a part of it and we have a job to do in this.
But what's the job? Because this is so relevant. Sorry, I'm like cutting it and stuff. But I just left the like Jewish general chat or something of London, and because it was just like that, like sharp, like in that rut that I'm just, I don't know. For me, it was just attacking, and like I can't. And you're saying I'm putting myself in a bubble with Hashem. Totally right. And so my question to you is like, how best to deal with it?
Literally this is what the message is. The message is this: when we see clearly, as we are seeing now, the difference between the dark and the light, and all we're seeing is dark, then know that we are the light. We carry the Torah inside us. The Torah is our inheritance. It's our Yerusha. It was handed down to us through generations to bring light into the darkest dark.
Yes,
when we see the dark, we know we need to shine bright. We need to be that light.
But do you think we have nowhere to go? It felt like we were trapped, and I'm like, no, we're not trapped.
We don't need to go anywhere. I think we are exactly where we're meant to be. We're placed exactly where we're meant to be, whether we're in Israel, whether we're in the north, whether we're in the south, whether we're in, wherever we are in the world. Hang on, Yael's coming.
Okay.
Sorry. Take you from here. It's a
complicated.
beautiful question. It's an amazing question.
No,
I
it
think
just resonates so much with like yeah, I don't know. Yes.
so. Yeah, I was just jumped in. So to give a bit of background, we were talking about when do we have to act in this world and make an effort to bring the outcome to us that we wish, and when do we sit back and expect a miracle? So we were just told in the last lesson that Yosef was reprimanded, or he was kind of punished. Well, the consequences of it were that he stayed in prison for 20 years. He was told that he did a wrong thing, that he had asked to be for the butler to remember him to Paro. At his level, he was expected to know that you don't have to worry about telling people to remind you. He was expected to rely on Hashem alone. But we're also told that we are supposed to make an effort. So my question was in my head, how do we know? When are we supposed to make an effort? And when we'll be told, oh, we're lacking in faith because we made those steps, we should have sat back. So obviously it does say that a tzaddik is somebody different, and there's like 1% or however many percentage there are, very, very pure people who are expected to do that. But no, Rabbi Bachia actually brings in two other places where we're expected to not interfere and to just have good grace and good faith. And the two examples are when things are already moving in a miraculous manner. So you can see that things are happening that are beyond what normally happens. And then you're not supposed to push. And the other time is when you see that nothing is available to you. There isn't even a method of effort that will even you can avail yourself of. And I brought an example of right now, we're seeing that whatever government or politics or university we appeal to, no one's believing us. There's no one even taking our side, even though it stands to reason that they would. It doesn't make any sense to us. We were the ones who were attacked. And now more people are, it's like, it's a mind, it's making your brain go, what's going on? So in that sort of circumstance, we have to realize that the hands of God is directly orchestrating these experiences, and we need to place our trust in God alone. So Ariela's question was, I don't want to paraphrase, if I'm telling this wrong, please correct me. Ariela was like, well, the first part of what I said gave her so much soothing, and she felt so, beautiful in this Jewish place of faith. But when I related it back to the toxic things that are going on now, she felt like, oh no, I'm back in the chaos that I was before in my mind. And what came to me in response to that was that, on the contrary, the Torah is a way of showing us how to be in this world. We're not supposed to be on the top of a mountain meditating. We can if we want to, but we're not supposed to live our whole lives like that. We're given a task to do in this physical world, and some of it is facing the darkness and being that light. And Israel are charged with that task of being that light in the darkness and bringing our thought of emunah, even if it's just one candle, and then two candles, and then three, and then four, but remaining that still small voice of reason, of calm, of dignity, of grace, of love, and of kindness in that dark, because the light will spread, and having faith that God will come to us in that moment. So yeah, that was my response. And if you have anything to offer, or if
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was very, very, very beautiful. That's what I wanted to say. That was
it's a beautiful sefer. It gives me so much faith, and just reminds me who I am. It reminds us all who we are and why we came here. So if it's okay, shall I go on a little bit? We've got a few more minutes. Oh, Ilana raised your hand. Ilana?
Sorry, I'm coming. Yeah, hi. Yeah, sorry. No, I think I'm from a different perspective. I think it just, for me, it is a very logical conclusion that if you place your full trust in Hashem, then when you do encounter terrible things in this world, and you see that, let's say you try to engage in certain conversations with people and no matter what we do, we're always going to be turned into something that we're not. And in a way, it's you're almost being forced to kind of go back to that. If I'm solely relying on Hashem, then I'm solely relying on Hashem. And no matter what conversations I have, and no matter what social media posts I try to put out there, those won't, I'm putting my faith in other things, and that is wrong at this point. And there's nothing, like you said, when there's nothing you can do anymore, you let the miracles happen.
Okay, yeah, I agree with all of that, and
And
I
I
think
think
absolutely right.
there's
But
a
I do
logic.
think there's
I
a
think there's a
balance.
logic to it.
Yeah, I think there's a balance. I think there is a point in putting social media posts out if you feel called to do that. I think there's a difference between the process and the outcome. So I think, yes, put the media posts out there to take down lies and to speak your truth. There are two elements to it. There's the not doing and the doing. So remaining silent in the face of lies allows the lie to continue. And I think there's always a point in speaking your truth. Number one, for the truth to be heard, no matter who hears it, even if it's only you. And number two, because the silence is a form of trauma, in my view. Just allowing
Yeah.
an lie to go unopposed.
No. I'm not saying to be silent, but I'm saying
So,
that all your
rely
regular
on it.
normal actions, not to rely on them.
Not to rely on. So there's a
I,
difference.
I think like what we're doing now, like what we did before, like I'll just call it the rut because that's how I called it. But it's like it's the words that you choose and what direction you choose to go. And I feel like strengthening the roots and taking away the weeds. For me, that's what works. And for others, it's like it's other things, and they might want to like go deeper into the. I don't know. I feel like the power of your words that you choose right now, or for me, and I need words of strengthening, love, like purpose, meaning. For me, that's what's working. That's how you get your strength, and you know why you do like what you're. But I guess everyone's different, and
So allow me to offer you something in that vein. Your roots, our roots are the truth. Our roots are in Emet. Roots are in Emunah. Emunah and Emet come from the same word. Emet and Emunah are one and the same. Believing in God is believing in authenticity, believing in speaking our truth. What is the not true part of it, what we don't need, and the weeds, so to speak, in this situation are us leaning over as a tree and depending on other people to receive our truth in the way that we need them to receive. No.
But there is no them. There's
It's
just a
literally all we need to do. We don't need an outcome. We don't need them to listen. I always say you can put the penny in. The penny will drop in its own time. And if it doesn't, that's not ours. But it's still okay to say your truth. And if you don't feel called to say your truth, or you see that there's no point speaking your truth, then you don't have to say it. But I think there is still a point in saying it to ourselves and to each other to reinforce our unity in Am Yisrael, to validate each other, to come together as a whole, to support each other in community. So
I think everyone needs to hear it's different, like, because anyways, it doesn't listen. It's us coming together. No matter what we say outside, doesn't matter. So it's how we speak together.
Yeah.
And how we replenish and renew ourselves and be strong together.
Yeah, it's exactly the same as doing your steps towards earning a living or doing your steps towards creating a good relationship for yourself, whether it's with your family or seeking a partner. You never know. Like if you put yourself out there and you either send out your CV or your shidduch profile or whatever it is, your dating profile on an app, whatever you're doing, you're making that effort. It doesn't necessarily mean that that app will yield the results, but it means the universe, that God is seeing that you're making an effort, and somehow you're enabling the reception of the outcome to come towards you because you're taking those steps. But you don't need to rely that that step will bring you this thing. That's an illusion. Yeah. So there's a difference between the outcome and the process. The process is ours. That's our job. We're told very clearly what to do. We have to make an effort. Do we have to overstress ourselves, going crazy that no one's believing us or going crazy that no one's responding to us? No, that's not us. We have to do our bit and then sit back and wait for God to do his bit because we trust him. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got a few more minutes. Shall I go on a little bit, or how are you all for time?
I'm good.
Should we finish here and do the next part tomorrow?
Happy to carry on if you want.
We can carry on. Okay, let's do one more page. okay, the righteous suffer and the wicked prosper. So this is a very big, this is the question that Moshe had for HaKadosh Baruch Hu at Har Sinai. This is the basis of all the questioning that people have. How can there be a God when in this world it seems so unfair that good people suffer? And if a person will say, Hine, anachnu roim, behold, we see mikta sadikim, lo yizdamen lahem tarafam, ela achrei ha'amal v'hayigia. We do see some righteous people whose sustenance only becomes available to them after so much hard work and toil. For Rabbim may anshe haveros b'shalva, and many very bad people are in peace and tranquility, v'chayehem bat tov uveneimim, and their lives are at peace and good and pleasant. How can that be when we explained earlier that the righteous are not required to make efforts to pursue their livelihood? Nomar, let's respond. That the prophets and the pious have already preceded us in questioning this matter. Mehem Misha Amar, for example, Yirmiyahu said, Madua derech Rishahan Salacha, why is the way of the wicked prospered? Mehem Va'amar Ha'acher, and another one said, which was Habakkuk, Lama Tareni Aven Va'amal Tabit V'Tod V'Chamat V'Negdi V'Yehi Riv Umadon Yisa. So Habakkuk says, why do you show me iniquity and look upon mischief without repaying the wicked? Plunder and violence are before me, and the one who bears quarrel and strife endures. V'Omar, and it says further also in Habakkuk, Ki rasha machtir et tzaddik, for a wicked man surrounds the righteous. V'Omar, and he says, Tacharish bevala rasha tzaddik mimenu. You are silent when a wicked man swallows up more than one more righteous than he. V'Omar, and it said further, this is King David and the Tehillim in Psalm, Hine Eila Rishon v'Shalvei Olam Yisku Choyel. Behold, these are the wicked, and they are ever tranquil, they've gained much wealth. And he said in the following two verses as well, Achrik uvesi, Achrik zikesi levavi v'arachatz benikoyim kapi ve'hi nagua kolayom v'tochachti levakarim. Surely I've purified my heart in vain and washed my hands in cleanliness, for I was afflicted all day, and my rebuke came each morning. But Omar Acher, another prophet, said, Malachi, al anshe doro, about the men of his generation, Gam bachanu elakim vayimaletu. They also tempt God, and nevertheless they escaped justice. V'harbekazeh, and many like this. So I think this is the most amount of quotes I've ever had in any chapter, where the Tanakh, the Torah, Nevi'im, Kesuvim are littered with examples of wise men and prophets and kings complaining about Hashem. What are you doing? Like, what is this world where the good people are suffering and the wicked people survive? So Rabbi Bachya is about to go there. I have a feeling it's going to take a little bit more than the few minutes we have for the rest of this shiur. But let's go there for a minute, okay? And yet while the prophet asked this question, and then they didn't offer a response that explains the reason. The reason is because the reason that a particular righteous person is tested, and a particular wicked person experiences good in this world, each one is different. Therefore, this matter is merely commented on in general terms when it says, in Devarim, the hidden things belong to God, but the revealed things apply to us and our children. We say that on Yom Kippur, that we don't know everything. The revealed things we can tell you, we can talk about, but there are some things we'll never understand. And the wise man, King Shlomo, said about this in Kohelet, Im oshek rash v'gezel mishpat v'tzedek tira b'medina, al timtev al hachifetz. If you see oppression of the poor and deprivation of justice and righteousness in the provinces, wonder not about the matter. But Omar HaKatuv, and the pasuk says further, Hatzur Tamim Pa'alah. The rock, which is Hashem Tamim Pa'alah, is perfect in all his deeds. Bichol Derochav Mishpat, for all his ways are just. These verses state that the ways of God are fair, but it's beyond our ability to understand them. So just as we learned in the last lesson, when Moshe asked Hashem, please explain to me what's going on in this world, the righteous suffer and that the wicked are prosperous, and Hashem said that you may not see. So although the Sukkim are littered with examples of questions, there are no answers. And there are no answers intentionally because the prophets know there's no answer. They're just asking the question. And I think they're giving us an example that it's okay to ask the question. We don't have to sit there in silence. We can ask the question of God. We can bring that question to God in our prayers. We can ask Hashem for help with this, because that's the ultimate that's the front line of the battle where we struggle with faith. That is that we're on the trenches, we're on the front lines, and the questions are our weapon. And who knows if we are not being asked to ask those questions in our tefillot and to say to God, look, we're fighting like Moshe did for the people of Sodom. Surely there must be something you can do, even if it's just one person who's worthy. Can't you help us? And I think we're being asked to ask these questions. So that's where I'm going to leave it. And if anybody else has anything to comment on, I'll be very happy to receive that. Just looking up. If not, we can say Tehillim. Yeah? You okay to say Tehillim? I've just lost the place. I know it by heart, but if anybody has it and wants to read it out of the Tehillim, then they're welcome to say it out loud, and I'll say it quietly, or I can try to say it by heart. Yoshev V'Seter. Yeah? Yoshev V'Seter Elyon, B'Tzel Shaddai Yislanan. Omar Ladonai Machzim Tudoti Elohai Eftach Bo, Ki Hu Yatzilcha Mipach Yakush Mideva Havot, Ve'varto Yisech Lach, V'Tachat Knafav Techzeh. Tina V'Sochera Amito, Lo Tira Mipachad Lola Mechitzi Of Yomam, Mideva B'Of El Yahalach, Miketev Yashut Zaharayim. Yipol Mitzitcha Elef Urvava Miminecha, Elecha Lo Yigash, Rak Beinecha Tabit B'Shulamit Risha'in Tireh. Ki Yata Adonai Machzi Elyon, Samtom Anecha Lo Te'unei Elecha Ra, V'Nega Lo Yikrav Ba'alecha. Ki Malacha Vitzav Elach Lishmarcha B'chol Derachecha, Al Kapayim Yisa'uncha, Pentigo Be'even Raglecha, Al Shachal V'Fesen Tidroch, Tirmos Kvir B'Tanin, Ivi Chashak V'Afaltehu, Atlagvehu Ki Yadav Shemi, Yikraeni Ve'enehu, Imo Anochi B'Tara, Achaltzehu V'Chabdehu Arech Yami Mathihu, Arehu B'Shuati. Good night, everyone. Sleep well.